Hi there, it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in the UK. Thank you so much for joining me again today. Today I am using the wonderful Capture the Good stamp set, which is new in the annual catalogue. It is on page 142 and it's just amazing. Anyone who does any sort of memory keeping, so scrapbooking, memories and more, that sort of thing, this is perfect because you're always taking photographs and it's just fun. But it's not just for memory keeping type projects, you can use it for cards as well. And that's what I'm doing today. I am taking my inspiration from this picture here, which I love, and it's giving me an excuse to get dirty, as in play with ink and spray and stuff. So yes, and I've just realised I've said so. Now, I asked for comments. I asked for comments. There was a comment on one of my YouTubes about the fact that I ramble on and there's unnecessary chatter, and a lot of you have been very kind and have said you enjoy that, which is great. And someone did say, apart from the fact that I say so often, it's kind of my pause, it's my reflection, it's my move forward, and I completely understand that it must be really irritating if I'm doing it so many times. I'm going to try and not say it. I was about to say it again. I'm going to try and not say it, so fingers crossed. Here we go. This is the stamp set. It's red rubber. It is a $1 Million Achiever set, and it's actually even better than that. It's a $2 Million Achiever set because it's the set that Tammy White, who is a demonstrator over in the US, it's the set that she helped design when she hit 2 million sales. I mean, it's just, I can't even begin to think. She has been a demonstrator for significantly longer than I have. And, you know, one day I may get as far as 1 million, who knows. But it's her $2 million stamp set. It's red rubber, it's gorgeous. I've stuck most of the stickers on already because we're using most of these stamps for this project. It is only £19, which for a full set of red rubber is just jaw-droppingly good. I was going to say it again. This is the project that I've put together. You can see probably from this where I've got my inspiration. Oh, and I must mention, if you can hear a kind of noise in the background, I'm doing some printing for an event that's coming up in the village in a couple of weeks, and I'm doing some printing for the Friends of our local church. We're doing a display, and there are some photographs that needed printing, and I've got the best printer amongst all of us. So I'm doing the printing. I'm saying it again. Right. This is the project. It's relatively simple once you've done the background. Even the background is simple. But yeah. So, no, I've said it again. Okay, let's start with the background. You need something. You need a smooth surface, and I'm using my F block as my smooth surface. The colours that I'm using for the project as a whole are Early Espresso, Bermuda Bay and Gorgeous Grape. So anything, I'm going to get fixated about it now. I'm going to say it so many times. These are printed in Early Espresso. I put an Early Espresso matte and all that sort of stuff. I'm not using Early Espresso for the background. I'm using Bermuda Bay and Gorgeous Grape. And the great thing about this is that you can, if you're lucky, get 2 backgrounds out of one layer. So I am going to bring in a piece of very scrap paper. This is about to become scrap paper, but I thought I'll do this messy project and then I'll switch this out and get a clean one. There was no point in putting a clean one down before I did this project. Okay, simple. Just take your ink pad and add some ink, and I've done opposite corners You do need to be careful when you put your second colour down that you don't pick up colour from your first ink pad. So be a little careful about where you're putting your colour, but do make sure you're getting as close as you can. Now what you can then do, if you've got beam markers, is add extra ink in. Let me just close that up because I do not want those getting all sprayed. So I have got the Bermuda Bay and the Gorgeous Grape. So, oh, I'm doing it again. I'm adding extra ink just to make sure that we haven't got any gaps. We won't have any gaps by the time I finish, but yeah. Okay, water. This is water, not mist. And I have got 2 quarter sheets of shimmer white cardstock. You could use watercolour paper. I really do not recommend using ordinary Whisper White for this. It's not going to take the water. Spray bottle, just add water. You want it quite wet because you do want the colours to move around. You can encourage the colours to, you can see why I've put a layer down, because when you spray it does come out off. It doesn't matter that it's gone on here, it really doesn't matter. You do want the water to move, is the important thing, or the colour rather to move. Then take your piece of paper, just accept you're going to get dirty, pop it down, card, not paper. I have got a piece of kitchen paper ready, and then this is where you're going to get dirty. Pull it up and you've got your colour background. Now I'm going to pop that, I'm just going to take some of the excess off on the side. I'm going to pop that on the floor for the moment, and I'm going to bring in another card and pick up the rest of the ink, because you really do not want to waste your ink. It's very good at, you know, you can use it for other things. So I can then turn that over and have the bottom at the top and the top at the bottom, because there's more ink here than there was at the top, and then you get another background. And again, you can just keep going until you've got a nice covered background. We're going to trim them down anyway, so it's not vital that you get the edges, but it's quite useful if you do, and it's particularly useful if you get the middle, and that's kind of okay. So I'll pop that on the floor as well, and as I say, this is where you get dirty. Then grab this, just wipe this off. It will clean up really easily because it is water-based ink, so it's really not a problem to clear up. Just wipe down. You may want to wash your block, but yeah, you could probably use your silicone mat. I prefer using a block because it's a really slick surface, and I think you get a better result with a slick surface. Just my view. And there you are. It's dirty, but it's going to be, so that's fine. Block back. And I'm going to be using this again, so let's get it so that it's got a reasonably clean bit. Just wipe any actual wet. And it's trusty cheese board time. I'm going to grab the first one that I did and my heat gun and just dry this off. Sorry about the noise. I love that it sparkles as well. It's just, oh, I love shimmer white cardstock. It is a fantastic alternative to watercolour card, and it's a better price point. Okay, so that is not dry, but it's not wet, so it's damp, I guess is the word. Then, with your spray bottle, just add some water and drip. You can do this with an aqua painter if you want, but I find my hand actually works better. And try and pick up the water that and just add some water drops. And this is where the fun really starts, because you never know quite what you're going to get. And that, as far as I'm concerned, is the fun bit. Dry your hand off, and then you can leave the water there for a reasonable length of time. You don't want to clear it up immediately, and you can begin to see, hopefully, can you begin to see that it's developing watermarks? Hoping you can see that. The longer you leave it, the longer you will get, the more watermarks, obvious watermarks you'll get. But for the sake of speed on the video, let's just then pick up that water, and you're removing the ink with the water. So this is a fantastic way of getting a splodgy background. There's a certain amount of control, but not a huge amount, and it's gorgeous. In fact, that's a nicer one than the one I've got to play with. I might have to dry this off, because this one's lovely. I was going to use this, which is nice, but this one is stunning. What I would say is that to get it completely flat, I prepared my... I'm going to have to wash my hands after this. I prepared the ones I was going to use for the project last night, and I left them underneath my block overnight to get them completely flat. But I'm loving this so much, I'm just going to make sure it ends up flat. So... say it again! I'm just going to dry this off as much as I possibly can. I will pop it under my block while I'm doing the rest, just so that I've got some hope of it ending up flat. But I am just loving how this one turned out. Okay. So that's about as flat as I'm going to be able to get it at the moment. So large block back on there, and I will see how flat that is when we come to actually make up the card. Okay, scrap of Whisper White, ink, camera, early espresso, ink that up really well. It's meant to not be a completely accurate stamp because it's got the shading built into it. And obviously you can colour inside if you want. I'm leaving it white because that's just me. And stamp it down. And you've got your lovely camera. I've also got, she says, trying to find it in the melee that is my desk. One day I'm going to actually get around to clearing up my craft room. I keep saying I'm going to do it today, and apparently today never comes. If it was tomorrow, I'd kind of understand, but it's today. So this is the, it's sort of a lens, and I've used it over the top. Then with Bermuda Bay, I have stamped the Snap Click Say Cheese Click Snap thing, that. So Bermuda Bay. I am getting absolutely fixated on not saying so now. And every time I say it, I'm going, no, I've said it again. Smile in Gorgeous Grape. Lovely. It's such a zingy colour scheme, I love it. And it's all taken from the catalogue. The catalogue is just fantastic for ideas. Okay. Some of this we have to fussy cut, some of it we can punch out, ish. I'm going to start by separating everything out roughly, because that makes it easier. I'm actually not going to cut that out, and I will tell you why in a moment. Okay, this I'm cheating. The 3/4 inch circle punch, which we no longer have, is perfect for the camera, the lens. Absolutely perfect. And of course it would have been easier if I'd left it in the big card, but never mind. If you haven't got the 3/4 inch circle punch, I can't even find a die that's the right size. I guess you go with the inch circle punch and just have a bigger border. But I've got the 3/4 inch circle punch. I'm just going to check. I'm sure we don't have it anymore. I'm sure it retired. But let me just check. There's a lot of new information and I'm struggling to take it all in. No, we go 1/2 and 1. Sorry. I can't even see another punch that would do. Possibly the circle tab and twist it round, but no. Some of the dies from some of the other stamp sets from the other dies might work, but certainly the layering circles, which is what I thought of as an obvious. No. Sorry. Okay, let's just trim this round. So I'm just fussy cutting round. I'm not being hugely accurate with how I'm doing it. I'm just kind of doing it, and I'm certainly not going into every nook and cranny because frankly life is too short and we're already on 16 minutes. So not a great idea, she says, saying it again. I am going to fixate it. It's just, I think the irritation point is where it's not that I use it in a sentence, it's where I use it as a start word, as a pause word, as a reflection word. I think that's the irritation, and I can completely understand. Now here it's not actually straight. We do need to go round here. Okay, that's that one done, and I'll go around this one as well. And I'm just kind of making sure it's not straight because I work on the premise that you either go crooked or you go straight. Don't do something halfway between the two. Make it obvious that you intended to go round the letters. While I am doing this, I'm going to give you an update on the weather. It is mid-June. The 21st, 22nd of June is midsummer. That's when we have the longest day and then the nights start drawing in. Today it is about 15 degrees centigrade. The skies are grey. The wind's not as bad as it was, but it's throwing it down with rain, which the garden is appreciating, apart from the fact that slugs and snails are coming out. But it's just not summer. Look, I've got a jumper there. I've got my vest back on, for crying out loud. I've got thick socks, boots. It's freezing. But I really don't want to put the heating on again. I am not going to fussy cut these for you at this moment. Trust me, you just need to fussy cut them. I have prepared them already. Some I've cut straight, some I've cut not straight. Again, either do one or the other. Don't do a mixture on the same piece. Right, it's time to make my mind up about which background I'm using. It's sort of flat and it's sort of dry, so I'm going to use that one because I'm thinking it's really rather nice. Okay, so that needs trimming down. This will be my normal second layer matte. Oh, I do need to do some colouring, so, oh, it's fine, I don't need to do colouring, it's only quick colouring. So 3 3/4 by 5.5, and as I say, this is a quarter sheet of International A4, which is, I'm actually going to trim this so that I get rid of that, because there were some white bits, and then come in at 5.5. Okay. Wonderful, I love this background. Oh! Right, I need my bits. Right, so I've got, this time I'm using Gorgeous Grape, just to see what the difference is. as my mat, as my card base, and I've got Early Espresso again as my mat. Because this is very wibbly, I'm going to apply more adhesive than I would normally. I'm going to try and get it a bit flatter. Hopefully this has got some glue in it. Yay! And I'm going to make sure that I'm really near the edge, not over the edge, but as near to the edge as I can possibly get, because that will help keep it flat. And then, as I say, more. This is much, much more than I would normally use. And if I had left it for longer and it had flattened out better, I would not have used as much. But I want to use this one. Okay, so while that is, I'll pop that back under the mat. See, this one is much flatter, and I wouldn't have used as much adhesive. But that one I can have flattening out whilst I do some of the other bits that I need to do. So I've got my light Bermuda Bay and my dark Highland Heather, because we don't have Gorgeous Grape in blends. And I'm just going to, let me make sure I do this the right way around, yes. Gorgeous Grape, not Gorgeous Grape, Highland Heather in the middle. And because we've got watered down Gorgeous Grape, this is quite a good match. Even between Gorgeous Grape and Highland Heather, so that's full strength Gorgeous Grape. It's a very good match. And then Bermuda Bay, I'm just going to fill in, and this is the light Bermuda Bay. I'm just going to colour around there, colour around the outside, and then I'll fill in the middle. But I like to make sure that I've got the edge done accurately before I go in. Where are we time-wise? 22 minutes. What a long video. Just as well I'm not fussy cutting those little pieces. It's only a card, for crying out loud. Right. We need a dimensional for the back of that. And, oh, come along. Come along. And that can then go straight into the middle here. Then we need some dimensional for the back of this. Whoops, let's throw this around. My hands are so cold. I could put the heating on, but it's summer, for crying out loud. I'm not putting the heating on. I've already put snips of dimensional on the back there. You can see I've got little frayed bits. Right, hopefully that is, oh, that's reasonably flat. Hurrah. Okay, adhesive. And again, I'm just using liquid adhesive on the back of that. And that is going at a jaunty angle on my card front. Then our smile can go above that. And then for this, I'm actually going to recreate where the stamps, if you see what I mean. So it's sort of the same order. Oh, isn't that funny? I did it the other way round. I did it Bermuda Bay. No, I did just the whole thing the other way around. But that's fine. It's quite useful. It's therefore different. I do like doing different. Don't want to do this exactly the same every time. So actually we're doing tone on tone, whereas previously we did opposites. So snap, click, say. You can see why I didn't fussy cut these on camera, because it's taking long enough to get them onto the... So we want click, any click will do. Click. Snap. Click. And then just as a final touch, I have got somewhere on my desk, oh, they're buried under the catalogue, I have got I am going to have such a reorganisation. I cannot tell you. Glitter enamel dots. These carried over from the last catalogue. And I've got a teeny weeny one to go in the middle of my lens. Then a large one to go on there. And a medium one to go down there. Then I just need my card blank, more adhesive, and this is more the amount I would normally use. And there we are. My 2 Tammy White Capture the Good cards. So I hope you enjoyed that. I love this stamp set. I cannot tell you how much I love this stamp set. We've got a team event coming up, not this coming weekend, but next weekend. And I'm toying on with do swaps at these events, and I think this might be my swap. I might change it up a bit so it's new, but I might be using this stamp set. So if any of the team are watching, anyhow, thank you very much indeed. If you need any products and you're in the UK, these are linked below. My online store is also linked below. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. It makes such a difference. And if you haven't already subscribed, again, it would make a huge difference if you subscribed. It changes all the analytics and the how often I'm going to come up on YouTube, so it does make a huge difference. So thank you very much. That would be fantastic. Any questions or comments, leave those below, or you can contact me by email. My contact details are on my website, and that is also linked below. And they'll be on my website. There'll be close-up photos and all the dimensions and another list of everything I've used. So thank you very much indeed, and I hope to see you again tomorrow for Simple Stamping Saturday. And I think you're going to like it. Just saying, I think you're going to like it. It's really cute. Thank you very much indeed, and I hope to see you again soon.